And just kidding. It's the intro has locked me out.
Oh no.
Here. And welcome to the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, joined by Carla, my co-host, media
How you
extraordinaire.
doing?
So, welcome back, Carla.
Thank you.
We missed you.
Good to be back.
And so, who do we have with us in studio tonight, Carla?
We have Tammy Love.
Hi.
And she's joined by Little Miss and Little Jack.
All right.
Good to have you on, Tammy.
It's good to be here. I really appreciate y'all asking me. You
Sure.
know, I don't know if you remember, but when you asked me, I said, "Are you sure you want to do it?"
Positive.
Roll the dice. Let's just see what happens.
That's what we say every time.
Yep, I was going to say the secret of our show.
It's always a crapshoot.
I'm here for the party then. It's all good.
So, Tammy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, gosh. Let's see. I worked for, well, I grew up in Fort Worth. I'm a native Texan. And if my mom had not been born in Illinois, I would have been something like a fifth generation Texan. So she messed it up, but that's okay. She got back to Texas as soon as she could. Let's see. I'm married to Kevin. We've got 3 girls between us. All of them are grown, and one little grandbaby, Tristan, a year and a half old, and just working. Did 30 years in IT, and not as a programmer. No, definitely not as a programmer. Way over my head. But basically, as a liaison between the technical people and the customer service people on different sides in different parts of the country and stuff. So I enjoyed all that part of it.
Nice.
Got caught up in a layoff back in 2014 and decided that if I was going to have to start working over again, I was going to do something that I wanted to do for the enjoyment of doing it, where it was going to be helping people. So that led me to work with seniors for about 8 years. And loved them, loved everything about working with them. Well, 99% of everything about working with them. But then decided to make another change, and now I am working as an administrative assistant and loving the challenges. It's a lot of different things I get to learn and do, and get to meet people from all over the Metroplex, traveling to different centers, and so I'm enjoying it.
Excellent.
As
Sounds like a win-win there.
Yeah, as far as the paranormal side of it, have always been interested in the paranormal. Starting from when I was probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. I think I shared with y'all, I was having this reoccurring dream. Like, I don't even know how frequently it was, but it was a lot. And the way that our house was situated at the time, I have 2 brothers and a sister that I grew up with, and my mom. And so she converted the living room to her bedroom, and then the one bedroom in the house was huge, and it had bunk beds for the boys and little twin beds for me and my sister. And I'm going to date myself, but y'all know the green giant and the little, what are they called? The little sprout, is it? The little ones?
Right.
They would come and wake me up and lead me to the closet door, and there would be this special knock on the closet door, and it opened up and it transformed into these marble stairway, beautiful big ballroom. And at the time, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis and Debbie Reynolds and Sammy Davis Jr., all those celebrities were very, very popular. And they were all at my party. And it was always a birthday party. And they wheeled one of those giant cakes out on the cart. And I was dressed in like, those really pretty old-fashioned nightgowns, the chiffon with the little matching gown and robe. And then you had the little fluffy house shoes. I was always dressed in a really fancy little gown and robe. And they all sang happy birthday to me and gave me presents and cake. And then they walked me back and I went back to bed. And I was always so sad when it was over with. Because, it was just about me. Now, looking back at it is like, was it just a need for attention? Probably. But I have since learned, and I truly 100% believe this, that I think spirits will talk to you on a level that you understand. It wouldn't have made any sense for them to come in and do all kinds of crazy stuff that was above my intelligence level at the time. So they, trying to help me out, gave me this gift over and over again. And I can remember when my dad died when I was 9, and my mom bought a house and we moved. And I just remember my little brother was the only one that believed me, Brian. And we were in the closet and just knocking on the door. We're moving. You've got to come with us. And after we moved, I never had the dream again. So it had to be associated with the house. It just had to be.
Yeah.
And I had another reoccurring dream about black cats with no tails, little bobtail cats. But that one scared me. And I think that one was more of a warning And you ever have those dreams where you can't scream, but you're trying?
Yes.
You know, so the terror is there, but you can't physically make any sounds. That's what I was doing. These
Oh.
little tailless black cats were everywhere, like climbing all over me and my cousin, and it was just,
Interesting.
yeah.
Hey,
But
but
that's
before you go on, can I interrupt you for a sec?
yeah,
Can you maybe explain to our viewers what they're seeing when the flashlight keeps coming
yeah. I
on?
was wondering if somebody was going to be curious about that. Okay,
Yeah, we've
so
got some comments.
yeah, I can't see the comments. I told you, I took my glasses off. Um,
There we
so
go.
the little Mrs. Flashlight is this blue one over here, and Jack's is the silver one, and then I've got a cat ball that's in the middle. And this is how we primarily communicate, because I can ask yes, no questions, and they can turn the flashlight on to answer yes. Or if I ask them to, sometimes, a lot of times, they can flicker the light for me for different things. Um, and that's why I ended up with two of them, because it was easier for me to tell who was talking, because it's at different points in time, they both could be very, very animated. I probably had her for a couple of months before she ever interacted with me on the flashlight. I mean, she did once, but it wasn't on video or anything, and I have no proof of it. Yeah, they do. They want to visit. I can actually see that one because it's in black. um, I took a break at work one day, and I was trying to talk to her, and the flashlight came on, and I was actually recording. I was like, okay, don't panic. You got this. And she will talk. I mean, between the two of them, we've had hour-long sessions, which the energy that takes for them is astronomical. And I guess because they're kids, they just doesn't faze them.
Yeah, they're both going now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
X is brighter than Little Misses this time.
yeah, and it'll vary. That sometimes he's got a very dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
And okay, so let me back up a little bit, because the people that I know about the dolls, I've explained this to them. But I guess there might be people that are watching that don't know anything about vessel dolls, because I never knew anything about vessel dolls until I got them. So do you want me to go into how they happened?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the investigation team that I'm on, RIP, we were going to do an investigation at a house that had never been investigated before, called Aston House here in Greenwood. And they were having they'd been having this multiple times, but like an estate sale. And so I went we were just going to kind of get a lay of the land, but I wanted to get a trigger object. And it was my first time deliberately getting a trigger object. I wanted something that was going to trigger a response, right? And I saw this little doll, and she was, oh my gosh, she was so sad looking. One little arm was pinned on, one leg was pinned on, one eye was just like stuck in the socket and just kind of hanging out. She was filthy. She was wearing an outfit made out of like a pair of old men's socks. Just, yeah, she's like, yeah, that's what I had on. So I got her, I think, for $5, and brought her home, put her on the kitchen table, didn't think too much about it. A couple weeks later, though, I was getting ready to go to bed one night, and we had brought a bunch of stuff over out of my mom's pantry to throw away, because you had to be sneaky about it, because if she saw you, she'd get upset. So it was hanging on the kitchen door. It was very, very heavy, like touching the ground heavy. And I walked in there to turn off lights and everything, and the trash bag is like spinning in a circle. And
Really?
my first thought was, oh hell, we got a mouse. And I was prepared to like run and scream. And,
Kill something.
well, no, that would have been like, go hit Kevin, like come kill the mouse. But I'm very brave, and I'm peeking down inside it, and it's not moving. There's nothing rustling, nothing. So I got out my phone, and I had this little SOS app, and it mapped a little tiny little spirit on top of it. It was just dancing.
Really?
Dancing.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay, well, I see you. I get it. You have fun with that. I'm going to bed now. Didn't think too much about it. Went to the bathroom, and there's the toilet's in a separate little room. And I had readjusted. There's one of those tower fans that we have. I'm very animated with my hands. I need to get them out of the way. But I turned the tower fan on to set it for an 8-hour timer, right? I go in to use the restroom. I come back out, and it's off. I was like, really? Okay. And I get my phone out again, same tiny little spirit, just dancing away on top of it. And then it was like, oh, okay. So definitely have something going on because it matched exactly the same as the other one. 2 totally different objects, different sizes. I told it, you're welcome to stay, but you got to stay in the bathroom. You can't come in the bedroom. I'm going to sleep. Good night. Went to bed. Didn't think too much about it. And the next day, that morning when I was getting ready, it dawned on me, oh, the doll. The doll was sitting on the table right by the back door. And I'd made a really rookie mistake. I didn't bless the doll before I brought the doll in the house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But luckily for me, it was a little miss, and it wasn't some evil conjuring person. And so I started getting her cleaned up and all these things after the investigation, getting her all cleaned up and everything. I felt really bad for her. And I accidentally kind of partially started dissolving her face because she's not stuffed with like regular stuffing. The people at the doll museum think she's about 75 years old, the doll itself.
Oh gosh.
And so when I got her wet, it was just like making this face just kind of deteriorate. So the doll museum people took pity on me, and they were like, okay, go get some material, shove it up in there, stitch everything back up. Well, a seamstress I am not, but I tried really, really hard. So the difference in the material and everything that you see is because I couldn't find any material the exact same color.
Mm-hmm.
But I did as good as I could shove it because it kept tearing as you're trying to sew it. So we got her all stitched up, got her cleaned up, and then I had the bright idea. Well,
Uh-oh.
So we had this happen before when we were backstage. So
She's moving.
I'm not frozen on my end. Can you hear me? I promise I'm not frozen.
You aren't now. You were.
Okay. What happened? Okay. All right. So, but I got her all cleaned up, got her sewed up and everything. And then I had the bright idea I was going to make her a gown, get her some new clothes. It looked like a hospital gown. It looked like she came out of some kind of institution. So we had to make a little sash for it and everything. And then that led to me just going online and ordering her some clothes. Now, during all of this, before I got Little Miss, I met Phoenix. You all know Phoenix.
Uh-huh. And
Phoenix had given me some insight about me that didn't make any sense to me at the time. She's one of the conversations we had was, call me day or night, text me, whatever. When you see the color indigo, that's all you see when you close your eyes is the color indigo. I was like, that's a very specific color, and I was like, okay, I'll let you know. And I kind of tucked it away, but didn't think too much about it until, those games that you can play on Facebook that tells you what color it is.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, I played this one that says, what color is your soul? So my soul was indigo. And that reminded me of the conversation with Phoenix. And it's like, 2 nights ago, or 2 mornings ago, right when I first got it, I was laying there and that's all I saw was indigo. But it didn't click until I did the little Facebook thing.
Uh-huh.
So I messaged her and I was telling her about the indigo and everything. And then we started talking about the doll. Well, the dolls started interacting with Phoenix. And she had never been to my house. She had never even met the dolls or anything, and they were sending her messages. Well, she was sending her messages because I didn't have Will Jack then. She started asking for, what was the first thing? I think it was like a rocking horse or a rocking chair. I was like, we're grown. We don't have any kids. Why would I have a little rocking chair? Well, a couple days later, looking around in my closet back in the back, a little red rocking chair.
Really?
With a little bear in it. Found a little rocking chair. One of the things, I opened up I'm pointing over there, like you can see where I'm pointing at. My office closet is just right across from my desk, and it was getting cold in here, so I opened up that closet door to go into I've got a laundry basket with some little lap blankets in there. And yeah, I know, you were there. She had asked for a pumpkin, and this was September. I was like, if I get a pumpkin now, it's going to be rotten. It's not that I don't believe you, but if I get a pumpkin now, it's going to go bad. When I reached down into that laundry basket to get that blanket out, though, guess what was at the bottom? A little green ceramic pumpkin. I put it there probably 3 years before that and completely forgot it was in there. She was shopping in my house at night, like just going around shopping. How stuff she wanted. But when I opened that closet door another time, though, a little tiny, like this big pillow fell on my head. I have never seen that pillow in my life. It was like a little reindeer pillow. I sent a picture of it to my brothers, to my uncle. Nobody knew where it came from. My mom and dad got married at the courthouse. They didn't have a wedding, so they didn't have a little reindeer. So it's still a mystery. I don't know where it came from. But when I pulled the sack down that it fell out of, one of my baby dresses was in that sack, and it had little rocking horses all across the top of it. So, I washed that little dress and I put it on her. She wanted pearls. Well, I had a little ankle bracelet that had pearls on it, so that became her necklace with a little ring that fell out of the sack, the same sack. I think it may have been my dad's wedding ring at one point.
Oh, wow.
My mom had Alzheimer's and couldn't have told me where the ring was from, and nobody else recognized it at all. Again, it was something else I had never seen. I don't know if still have no clue where the ring and the reindeer pillow came from, but maybe one of these days I'll know. Everything that she was telling Phoenix that she wanted, I was finding in my house within a day or two. So, I mean, it's way too much stuff just to be coincidental.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at this point, I'm taking everything that Phoenix is telling me at face value. It's like, okay, you got it. She wanted things that she could call her own. And that's when we started the online shopping. So I blame her. It's her fault. But she loves it. I would have her sitting in my lap with me, and after she started using the flashlight and everything, I would have her turn on the flashlight. If I saw something online and ask her if she liked it, she'd turn on the flashlight. So what started off as just a couple little dresses, now she's probably got a couple of weeks worth of clothes, that we can recycle. But it's fun. But once she started communicating with me with the flashlight, we were able to find out a lot of stuff about her. And we knew she was happy, but she kept saying she wanted her Andy. She wanted her Andy. And I had been looking for a Raggedy Andy doll online ever since I got her, because I figured there had to be another one, right? I figured there was probably a pair and somebody got the other one and took it. Well, a couple of days before Thanksgiving, I saw this little doll on Facebook Market, and he hardly had any hair left at all. He was filthy. He was missing an arm. Just sad looking little doll. And I had her, and I was asking her, is that him? Can you show me the flashlight? And she's very actively engaged in a conversation. Yes, every time. So I ordered him, and I had originally asked them to mail him to me. But then in talking about it, it made more sense to go get him. He was only an hour away. So we contacted the seller. And when she brought this doll out, it broke my heart. He was folded in half and stuffed in a baggie. And it was just horrifying. I was like, oh my God. But I did say a blessing on the way to the car over the doll and everything. And then Kevin, bless his heart, he humors me and indulges me with a lot of this stuff because he's seen what these dolls have done. And we had the flashlight with us, and I was asking her, is this your Jack? And she was adamant that was her Jack. And I didn't know it until we got him. He's a music box on the back of him. And the song that he plays is, and I mispronounce this every time, is Friar Jack.
Mm-hmm.
He plays it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's where Little Jack came from. He plays it very, very slow, but he plays it. And in talking to him, he has confirmed that he is a Jack Jr. So,
wow.
What we have, deducted, after playing, it's not more 20 questions at this point. It's more like 20,000 questions at this point. Yeah. But there wasn't a motor vehicle accident that killed what we originally thought was their whole family. Mom, dad, little brother and sister, or brother and sister. But we have come to find out since then that it wasn't the mom that was killed. It was one of the teachers that was brought into the house to help them was with the kids because mom had a new baby. So, and this has all been just within the last month or two that I've learned this part because we had been thinking all this time, mom, dad, little Miss and little Jack. Wow. And I tried to find them online. I'm sure that if, and please don't take me serious, FBI, if they were to come and raid my computer right now looking at my browser history, they would put me away. The stuff I'm trying, motor vehicle accident, family of 5 killed, all this stuff I'm looking up, they're probably thinking, okay, you're sick. You are sick, twisted, you gotta go away. But I'm just trying to find the history on them so I can come up with those dots. But I haven't been able to connect all the dots yet. But it is piecing together more because I have found out that mom did remarry. And when mom remarried, they sold the house. But they went into the dolls before they sold the house. And I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm trying to get all of this in. Because I know how crazy it sounds. I truly know how crazy it sounds. But it's like a soap opera, but with rag dolls, They had a lady that worked for them named Agatha. And when we went back to the Aston house in October for a charity event, we have a very, very good video that the lady that we kept referring to as Agatha, she was very adamantly and actively answering our questions in the upstairs bedroom. She was using the cat ball. She was using the K2. She was using the flashlight. And she identified herself as Agatha. And that's the name that Phoenix kept getting. But I kept getting the name Amelia. Well, what we have figured out is Amelia was Agatha's niece. And so when the mom had the baby, that's when Amelia came to help with the kids. My mom passed away back on Christmas Eve. And one of the things that the dolls were bringing me some comfort, just in general, just hugging a doll makes you feel better, Right. But I didn't realize what I was doing, and Phoenix had the foresight to bring it to my attention because she knows how much I trust Teal Gray. Mm-hmm. So she wanted me to talk to Teal to get her opinion on some things because she didn't want it to come from her. She wanted it to come from somebody else that was not involved in what was going on. Well, Teal put us in touch with a gentleman named Mark that lives down in Florida, who is, for lack of a better term, he is a vessel doll expert, which is what they have been identified as vessel dolls. And what he did a reading on the dolls just from a picture I sent him. And I do not know how this works. I don't ask questions on stuff like that because I'm not going to understand it. But he came and visited with them and did a reading on the babies. I call them the babies. And what he was picking up was that one of them is autistic, which I've never heard a spirit being referred to as being autistic, but it makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm not sure which one of them it is. I personally feel that it's Jack, just based on his sense of humor and the way that he responds to me sometimes. But I don't think that they used that word, back in the 60s, because what we found out, and they confirmed this again just last night for me, she was born in 56 and he was born in 52. They passed away in 64, which is the year I was born. Both of their birthdays are in February. Hers is the 12th and his is on Valentine's Day, the 14th. No, hang on. Something like that.
Jack just lit up.
Yeah. Last night, they both at different times, they definitely have temperaments of children at times. And last night he was over me. He didn't want to have anything to do with me. But she was answering for him on her flashlight. It's kind of funny sometimes. He'll answer for her on his flashlight and she'll answer for him on her flashlight. But yeah, they were, and this is like the third or fourth time that they've confirmed birthdays for me. So their birthdays are in February, in 56 and in 52. Because she was 8 when she passed away and he was 12.
Wow.
And when you keep that in mind, when you're working with them and talking to them and activities that you want them to get involved in, it makes a lot more sense the way I am with them, because I definitely have bonded with them. I don't know if they think of me as mom, but I think of me as their mom, at least like their foster mom. Jack has told Phoenix before. She said something about give Jack kisses for me or something like that. And I said, oh, he can give you kisses. And she said, no. He said only his mom can give him kisses. And that's his flashlight that just went off.
Yeah.
So he will let me hug on him and he will let me kiss him. We take them with us sometimes. Kevin's pretty good about letting me take them with us. But you can imagine the looks that we get. But they have let me know that they can feel like cold. They can feel heat. They can feel cold. They haven't said that they can feel pain. So I'm not sure where the boundaries are about what they feel and when. But I know they can feel happy. They have let me know that they can dream. That they can sleep, but they don't always dream. Some of the stuff that I ask them is so off the wall. But, how often do you get a chance to interact with two someones, much less one someone, or one someone, much less two someones that are on the other side that can tell you about things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So do y'all have any questions? I kind of went through a lot of information and I'm sure I skipped over some stuff that I wanted to talk about.
I was going to ask, when you introduced little Jack to little Miss, how did that go?
The only thing I can tell you is a feeling that I had, and it was just like the word I kept hearing in my head is finally, 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 finally.
Oh, they're both lit up.
Yeah, I think I truly believe that if I have no other role with them, it was to help them find each other. I think when they sold that house, that's when, and all the belongings in it, because something I left out. The dolls belonged to Amelia. Amelia pretty much hangs out at my house all the time now, is what we're told. And she comes into our sessions frequently. I have to tell her, not right now, I just want to talk to little Jack and little Miss, and then I will invite her to come in and talk to the session. I did an hour-long session the other night with Amelia, because I did a spirit box recording with her, and there was a man that kept answering along with her. And we were trying to figure out who the man was. And they identified that it was her father that was talking. But the doll, she's got some initials on her back. Amelia has identified that, and she has told me before that her last name is Morrison. So they were her dolls. And so when she passed away in the accident, the dolls went to Agatha because Agatha was still alive. But then when Agatha passed away, that's when the dolls got sold. And so they just scattered, you know, and they just didn't know. I think my understanding of it is in the spirit world, they kind of knew where each other was, but they didn't know how to get to each other. So where they are the vessel dolls, I'm the vessel human for them to get point A to point B, you know.
Wow.
Right.
That's pretty interesting.
So I have a question that I'm going to ask because I know the answer of, but I'm going to ask for the benefit of people who may be watching this in replay and are hearing a term for the first time. Vessel doll. What exactly is a vessel doll versus a haunted doll versus a doll?
Okay, this is my layman person understanding of it. A vessel doll is just a doll that's been inhabited with a spirit. The spirit doesn't have to stay there. It can kind of come and go, and they do visit. They've let me know that like places that I have not taken them with me, they have told me later that they went with me, just in spirit form. So see, she's like, yeah, we did. Haunted dolls, to me, I think they're trapped in there. Now, I honestly don't know if that's gospel, but that's my understanding of it. You can have you can have vessel dolls, you can have vessel vases, any kind of object can be a vessel, as long as they choose to go into that object. So, somebody meowing?
That's my dog. He
He was
at the groomer today and in daycare. Normally he's quiet during the show, but he's
like, the dolls get to be on there while I'm not on there. Baby. They love our dogs. Our dogs are crazy, but they love our dogs. And they really love my daughter Lindsay's dogs, Lilibel and Ruby. They love them. See? They just, we do.
Yeah.
So does that help? I mean, as far as the haunted and the vessel?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to switch subjects on you real quick. Tell me about your photography and cemeteries.
Okay. It's a weird fascination, but I have always thought that going to the cemetery and taking pictures is just so relaxing and peaceful. And there's some very beautiful art in cemeteries. Some of the statues, even the really broken headstones and stuff like that, with the discoloration and stuff like that, it can be really, really pretty. So photography is kind of one of my happy places to go to. It's something I enjoy doing. So yeah, it's just, some people go to, cemeteries to visit loved ones. I hate to say this, I hardly ever do that because I don't believe that they're there. I think you can visit with your loved one anywhere. Now, that being said, since my mom passed away, I will probably go visit her headstone, at the cemetery to see her. But I'm really, really bad at going and visiting family at the cemetery because I just don't. To me, I'd rather just sit here and have a conversation with them,
Yeah.
But the New Orleans, oh my gosh, the cemeteries there were amazing to photograph. Galveston's got an awesome cemetery. You can't really put that review on Yelp, though. It's like, it's a great cemetery to photograph. Yeah. And you're like, okay, lock her up. There's just some beautiful, beautiful things that you can see there. Even just the flowers and the trees and stuff like that they usually keep those up really pretty too. And it's peaceful.
Some of the monuments that they have there are just.
You can go onto my Facebook page. There's some of my New Orleans pictures, there's like one whole album that's just got cemetery pictures in it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were at Myrtle's Plantation, we went to the cemetery just up the street.
Grace.
It was amazingly beautiful.
hmm
It was
It
there's
just
was
some really pretty ones around out in the country, just little bitty old church cemeteries. I love those.
it was Grace Cemetery,
yeah.
and the funny thing about it was at the time we were focused on just seeing the graves, and walking around and looking at some of the oddities. And I'm walking up to one of these kind of like mausoleum type um, tombs there, and all of a sudden you get one cat sound, and I'm like, "Y'all heard that, right?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, that sounds like a cat." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's only once." And we never saw a cat, and we're like, how many cats will only meow or make a sound once? And
That
so
sounds like an Aggie joke. It's like,
so we left and went to Myrtle's, and I didn't know I had the cat sound until I went to review. And when we were listening to the review, Annette, who put it together, reached out and said, "Oh, and by the way, behind you was a pet cemetery at the
oh,
church."
very
And so
cool.
we were like, that explains the cat.
hmm You should have had a whole chorus of them. I know, like when my dogs start their they all join in. Cats do that too. Usually, when one cat starts, they all start meowing.
Yeah.
I think
So
Linda has a question for Tammy.
we do. We have a first question in the chat room.
Okay, let's
Tammy,
hope
do
I can
your
answer it.
dolls do readings?
I've never had them try to do a reading before, so I honestly don't know.
They're responding.
I'm sure she'd be like, sure, I can do a reading. Now, could we guarantee it? But I haven't tried it, but I'm not saying I wouldn't be open to it. But
I get the feeling Little Miss is over there saying, try and stop me.
she's
Yeah.
she's like, just have your credit card in hand, and we will take care of you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Mama needs more shoes. No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh. That's too funny.
So, what are some of your favorite places to go and investigate?
Oh gosh. I think the place that I have actually enjoyed investigating the most is Jefferson. And I know that's kind of a standard answer for a lot of people that go to Jefferson, but you never get the same activity twice. It's almost like there's so much spirit activity that every time you go, you get to talk to different spirits, even if you're at the same location again, And it's just so beautiful. The history there is so, so rich.
I love Jefferson.
Yeah,
It's
Jefferson is one of my
like
favorites.
you constantly want to go back.
Now, I did love New Orleans, but I will tell you, the only time I've really, really been scared on a ghost hunt was in New Orleans because, and I'm going to butcher this name, you might know it, Madame LaLaurie, I think is how she said
Madame
her name.
Laveau?
No, not Marie Laveau. She was French, and she was married. I think she might have been a countess, but she was married to a doctor. And they used to have these very elaborate dinner parties. Oh, well, let me preface this by saying we were on the Bloody Mary voodoo tour, ghost tour. So it was already a little bit heebie-jeebied out because it was just Bloody Mary. But the street is the street where like Nicolas Cage and when Brad and Angelina were together and they had a house over there. It's that really rich area of houses. And they're telling us these stories that they had these elaborate dinner parties. And she would disappear for little periods of time and come back and had that blood like coming out of her mouth. And they had slaves that they the neighbors started to complain because of the treatment of the slaves. And the big complaint came when there was a little girl slave that went missing. And they were sure that something had happened to that little girl. Well, when they finally came to check everything out, it's because one of the slaves, the woman that was working in the kitchen, set the kitchen on fire so that the fire department would come and find out what was going on there. You know, the story itself was horrifying, but that she had a lot of, she'd killed a lot. They had a room upstairs where she had been conducting experiments on people. He was not involved. The doctor was not involved, but like genital mutation and just all kinds of very, very horrible stuff that she was doing. And they had so little disregard for human life. But when the fire department came and the lady told them that the slave told them what had been going on and everything, they were going to arrest her, but she had been like just very casually going about getting all of them together, and they were on a buggy just kind of heading out, you know. So they were able to, they didn't like run out of town or race out of town with a carriage. So they were able to arrest them. But because she was French, they just sent them over to France. And she didn't understand how come she couldn't come back.
Yeah.
So, but that standing out, getting out of the van and standing on that street, trying to take pictures of that house, it was scary. It was very scary. And none of my pictures turned out. I mean, they were all just, they may be because I was shaking. I don't think I was shaking, but it was scary. But it wiped out a lot of pictures on my phone. You know how spirits will drain your batteries and they will do all kinds of stuff. They messed with my camera. They jacked up a lot of pictures on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Kat
I don't want
says
to go back to
it's
that.
Delphine
The
Lowry,
Lowry. Yes, that is her.
and it's
So,
the Lowry Mansion.
Yeah, go do some investigating on that. And I will not be going with you if you go to investigate.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't American Horror Story do a series on her?
I don't know.
It
Maybe
seems like a familiar story. Like I've heard the story.
they've turned it into so many things. It was like a boys' home and all kinds of stuff, and it never, ever, ever worked out because of the amount of spirits and the whole negative horror things that were going on there. It was just horrible. Still gives me goosebumps.
You can rest easy because Kat says you can no longer go in there.
Good.
Might be a reason for it.
Kat, did you go in there? Have you been in there before? I can't read what she's writing.
I think she was saying yes, it was on American Horror Story.
The
in Coven. Okay, Coven. Yeah, I can totally believe that. That place I've been on some cool investigations. Well, not even an investigation. We went on a ghost tour in Las Vegas. Now that was trippy. This was me and my friend Tammy and her sister Cindy. And the guy that led the tour was a former funeral home director. And he had the old top hat on and the overcoat and everything. But you go to a bunch of the different casinos in Vegas and he tells you about the history. Did y'all know that Vegas is like the suicide capital of the United States?
I did, actually.
I did not know that. And Jack's like, I knew, or no, woman. How do you know that? He's like, I knew it too. Yeah, there's a lot of people go to Vegas to kill themselves. I mean, they go and blow all their money and kill themselves. So we were talking about all things Vegas, and I think it's Bugsy Malone that was at Flamingo. They built him like a little house out on the grounds. I've got pictures in that little house of what looks like a little toddler girl with a doll next to her. You can see the curls and everything in her hair.
Oh wow!
We went out to this park called Settlers Park out on the edge of. It's not really inside the Vegas city limits. It's out closer to Henderson, I think. And it's kind of in a really sketchy area of town. Like I grew up on the east side of Fort Worth, and it was like, oh yeah, I feel at home here. Yeah, you wanted to be careful. But I took a bunch of pictures, and there's one picture that I took, and I was the only one around, and I was wearing like capri pants, so there was a definite. It sounds bad to say. There's a gap between my legs because I had the capri pants on. But when you look at the picture, it was just a random picture of a tree. I don't even know why I was taking a picture of it, but it very clearly looks like a Grim Reaper standing there with the what's it called,
The sigh.
the sickle thing,
Yeah.
you know, with the robe and all that on. And there was nobody around me. Everybody that I showed that to, I mean, because you could see it immediately in the view in the camera, looking at it afterwards. It was freaky.
Wow.
And he was telling us this story about how it became known as Settlers Park because there was a wagon full of settlers that everyone was killed except for the mom. She was in the back of the wagon and they didn't kill her. And a lot of people have reported seeing her there and hearing her cry. Well, the whole time he's talking, I'm taking pictures of the picnic tables. And I've learned, don't question what you're being led to take pictures of, just take the pictures because something's going to show up. And sure enough, you can see in my pictures, especially when you change the exposure, you see the full, the bonnet, you see the sleeves, you see the apron on the dress and everything standing next to the picnic table. It's really creepy, but it's very cool at the same time.
So, to clarify, the La Laurie Mansion, I didn't see it on American Horror Story. It was on Portals to Hell. So,
Oh, that one's even scarier than American Horror Story to me.
yeah.
But I think
And
it's more real.
Brian Rice has a question for you. Do the dolls fight with each other? And
No.
I'm wondering if it's arguing is the type of fight he's talking about.
Well, it's my little brother. He's probably talking like we fought. No, I think he's very gracious with her, and he lets her have her way a lot because she can be a little bossy. That's him lighting up. Can you see that? He's like, yes, she is, and he is just. I think he is just genuinely sweet, and I think because she's really good natured. I'm kidding about her being a diva most of the part about it, but she is very funny and very sweet, and I think he is a really good big brother for her and just lets her have her way most of the time. So if they bicker between them, I haven't ever picked up on any of it.
Okay. Well, Catherine says I was correct. It was part of the American Horror Story in the Coven episode. So thank you, Catherine, for
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find it and watch it.
seen it on 2 places. So
Kim has a question too.
and Kim Smith wants to know, can you ask Little Miss if she enjoys you telling their story?
Yes. Okay. Can you turn your flashlight off for me, sweet? I could ask you a question. And of course, now we're all looking at her. She's like freezing. Okay, thank you. Okay. And Kimmy wants to know, do you like me talking about you and telling your story? If you do, can you turn your flashlight back on? I guess you can both turn them on if you want to. Can you turn your flashlights on if you like me talking about your story? No, maybe hanging.
Now they're on.
Okay, so let me close that question. Don't answer it. Would you rather I not tell your story? Would you rather I not talk about it? If you don't want me to talk about it, turn your flashlight on. Stage fright.
And Kim says they're shy.
Yeah.
They can be shy. Okay, I'm going to close that question. We'll come back to it. But Kim has been on the phone with me doing FaceTime, and they have answered questions for her. Now,
There it goes.
So, that she's talked to them on the phone, FaceTime. She's met them in person. My friends Tammy and Jill, I had been talking about them meeting her to the dolls, and so it's almost like, okay, I don't mean this to sound disrespectful. It may sound disrespectful. I truly don't mean it that way. It's almost like this is my coming out party tonight, because a lot of people know that I enjoy doing paranormal. They know I'm on a paranormal investigation team, but they don't necessarily know about my dolls. Surprise, I have vessel dolls. So trying to get the dolls ready and wanting them to be excited about it. And I wanted to tell my friends about it before we came on here because I didn't want them to hear it. Not that it's like something bad or negative, but I just wanted them to hear it from me so that they had a better understanding about it.
Yeah.
And they actually talked on the phone with Tammy and Jill for almost an hour answering questions and just having a ball.
Wow.
So Linda has a question for you. Are you telepathic?
I think I have moments when I am. Truly, I do. I think that, I used to say, well, something just told me, something just told me. Well, now I know what's telling me, who's telling me most of the time. I have all my life, I've been somebody that, people would just tell stuff to. People, strangers, I could go into a restaurant and sit there waiting for my food, and a waiter would just come sit down and start telling me their life story, and it happens a lot. And I never mind. But it's just like, I always just thought it was so weird. And then it's like, it's almost like I have some kind of beam that I'm putting out to the universe that's like, hey, come talk to me. Because I can feel the energy in the room. I can feel when the energy shifts. It's something that I need to work with more. But I definitely know that I have moments when I'm telepathic, and I know that I lean towards being an empath. But am I using it to its full advantage? No, I'm not. I could be doing more with it. But I hear so many horror stories about empaths that, once you open that floodgate all the way, it's really hard to be around big groups of people and all that stuff because you can feel all the emotions and all the energy. I don't know if I want to deal with all of that.
Yep.
So I'm just kind of baby stepping it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Linda is asking, so you don't need to ask yes and no questions.
I do for verification for me because it was brought to my attention that sometimes I ask leading questions. But as a mom, y'all know, you don't ask a question that you don't know the answer to. Like if the kid comes in with chocolate all over their face, they ate the cookie, right? So you don't go, have you been eating bananas? Because you know that they've been eating the chocolate. It's more for my benefit that I ask the questions because I want that confirmation out loud. And a lot of times I record it because I know that I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And I'm coming to terms with the fact that it is a gift. And so I want to document that journey because I do think it's a journey that I'm on. I do think that it's part of me becoming who I'm supposed to be. And in some form or fashion, I'm here to help them. Now, whether that's to help them find where their parents are, because I know that their mother has passed away since, she got remarried and she's passed away. The little baby that mom had was a little girl. I don't have confirmation on the name. Maybe they'll give me confirmation on the name. But what came to my mind was Sarah. But Sarah married after 1985, but I don't know the exact year. And Sarah has since passed away. But I'm saying Sarah, the sister's husband is still alive. Now, if I could track down that dude, I would be so happy. I've got to have some time and devoted effort spent doing the legwork, tracking the people down. Because I do, like I said, I do searches and I look and I look and I look, but these are all mostly late at night. And, you can't stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning every morning. Eventually your body just says stop.
Right.
So if any of y'all want to go investigate, feel free. But Amelia Morrison was the teacher's name. I I know that her father said that he was not from Granbury, but he lived close by. The kids have told me but Saginaw before, but I don't know if that's Saginaw, Texas, or Saginaw, Michigan, or.
Yeah.
And when I say they told me Saginaw, we were literally listing off city after city after city. Does it start with this letter, this letter, this letter? Then you get to the letter it starts with, and then you start listing off cities that start with that letter. So it's always chopping it down, whittling it down.
Right. Well, I hate to say it, but we are at our hour, and so
I know.
I don't know. Do we
That
have
went
more
really fast.
questions to keep going, or how? Where are we at?
I'm fine if anybody wants to, has any more questions. Yeah, she's still here. I told you, y'all, she's here for the party. She is dressed, and I want to show y'all real quick though, because she picked out her outfit, I wanted to show y'all. Look how
so cute.
That is cute.
So she literally, when we were listing off outfits, that's what she lit up on that she wanted to wear. And I'm pretty sure that she convinced him to wear this because he has not worn this before. His little.
He looks a little snappy.
Yep.
He actually got a hair transplant when I got him, because I don't know another way to explain it other than I could feel how self-conscious he was about it. You can imagine as a 12-year-old when your hair is like just little patches back there. And so there actually is a store online that just has nothing but doll parts, and it's kind of creepy if you really stop and look at all the. So we didn't spend a lot of time on that website, but they do have wigs, and
he's agreeing with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's commenting.
Yeah, he's commenting. But you could just feel a change in his whole demeanor after we got his new hair, And the reason he's got this bandage up here is because he was so dirty, and when we were trying to clean him up, he started dissolving too. So we stopped doing what we were doing and just put a big fabric patch on it. So that way he wouldn't dissolve. But he's got a very injured leg that we're still trying to figure out what to do with, because his leg is basically broke in half.
Oh.
And
Aww.
yeah, I mean, you can't sew it back together because it just keeps tearing. So we're either going to have to do a leg transplant or just cut that leg off altogether. I don't know. And because this is my first time dealing with vessel dolls, I know that she had more reservations about it than he did. She was really freaked out about the whole thing, because I ordered another Raggedy Andy doll thinking that I would just take those Raggedy Andy legs off and put it on him if he was cool with it. Everything was, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Over and over again. But the doll, even though they're the same height, it's like he's got tree trunks for legs and his feet were like this much bigger. So it wasn't going to work. But yeah, so I don't know if his legs have anything to do with his spirit. Personally, I think his spirit is wherever he is, the majority he is. But I know not to throw the legs away. We save the legs and, keep them for whatever. So yeah, he's like, please take my legs.
I was going to say, we could ask him, which does he prefer, having amputation or?
He's actually told me he prefers the new legs. But then that gets into, okay, well, if we're gonna get you new legs and he's got another arm, do you want another arm since you're missing an arm? And he kind of goes back and forth. So we haven't bought another Raggedy Andy doll because I want to buy it in person instead of online.
Yeah.
And
right.
I do know that it freaked her out. So we've just got to tread carefully on that one.
Yeah. So Linda Judd commented, learning how to close is just important as to how to open. You choose your level of involvement with your gift, and learning how to close is kin to having your boundaries defined, which
That's
is very true.
Very, very true. I have a little speech I say every time that we get ready to do a session. And basically, I am letting the spirits know who is welcome and who's not welcome. And then when we get ready to close the session, I thank everybody for talking and thank them for the time. And the session's now closed. And if you are here, and you're not part of my family or the dolls, then I'm sorry, you're not welcome to stay. Except for, we've got Miss Amelia hanging out. So she's saying yes for Miss Amelia. And
Okay.
I thought about putting the K2 out for Miss Amelia, but it gets very convoluted when all of the stuff starts going on.
Yeah.
But she knows how to use all the equipment too.
Right. So Brian commented, I've got an early morning. It's been interesting. Good night.
Bye, Brian. Love you.
And let's see. Kim says, thank you for sharing, Tammy.
You're welcome. Love you. Bye.
And Linda says, talk to a seamstress for ways to patch or replace the leg.
I will. Right now, I've got a sleeve on it, which I didn't even know there was such a thing. I don't know if you can see it, but you see right here, that's the stuffing part of it. This is a sleeve that's over his leg that, because his leg is taped where it actually split. I mean, so the whole thing just like that.
Yeah.
And so we taped it up and then we put the sleeve over it, kind of like a cast to hold it in place for now. Yeah, it's TBD. We got to figure out what we're going to do with it. But we just kind of, no pun intended, we put a pin in it and paused it for a minute just to figure out what we want to do, how he wants to proceed. Because I want him to do what he wants me to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. And so Linda says, thank you, Tammy, for sharing your babies. And Corey Wells says, I'm completely intrigued.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you, Linda and Corey. I appreciate it. If y'all got more questions, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you or share videos with you. I am working on a YouTube channel for them. I've got all the videos that I've done in one location, but there's some other stuff out there as well. And I haven't been able to spend enough time with it yet. I want to just, because I've got two different channels out there and it won't let me add another one right now. So I'm trying to figure out how to just get everything off of one channel that I don't want and put it on the other one and just make one specifically for the babies. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Sounds
to be
good.
honest, I'm not sure about taking. I mean, you can delete stuff. So what you can do is download from the one channel to a file, and then delete it, and then upload it to the other channel. That's about the fastest and only way I know to transfer from one to the other.
Okay. I wonder if could you transfer a whole playlist from one to the other? Like if you moved them all to a playlist?
I'm not sure because I strictly do videos. I don't do playlists. So if anybody in the chat room is familiar with Facebook,
They're answering like they know. I don't know.
If you know the answer, if you could please help us out.
Yeah, I am determined to figure that out though, because there are a lot of videos that I want to share. There's a couple that are private, and bless her heart, I took somebody out the other day that was a subscriber because there were some videos I put in there that I wanted to just keep private for now, and even though it says that she couldn't see them because only the people with the link could see them, I didn't trust it, so I just took her out. But I'll have to send her a message and explain to her, like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. I'll add you back.
Well, you can try doing unlisted, and that's like just their.
That's what I did. I had them unlisted, and then I wanted it to be private because it said anybody that you share the link with, and I'm like, well, what if somebody I shared the link with gives it to somebody else, and I don't want the other person to see it? So
yeah,
right.
They were talking top secret stuff, like we could tell you, but we'd have to kill you kind of stuff. So Again, FBI probably loves me.
Yeah.
Crazy Catherine, Cat says, yeah, they won't be able to see it if it's unlisted. That's what I do. Because I've done that with the few videos that were specific people I wanted to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will definitely get work on that, and then I will send y'all the information so you can, if you want to share the,
Perfect.
YouTube channel on your page, you can, or whatever.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get shy, but I can almost always, after just a few minutes, get them talking. They love music. This one is a big gospel music fan, believe it or not. Like the Gaither family, hands down, could listen to that
Wow.
all. She loves Sonny and Cher. We listen to a lot of Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, it's funny because before you had said that, I could have probably listed off 2 or 3 of their songs, and now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I don't want to hurt her feelings because I am not the biggest Sonny and Cher fans, but I enjoy listening to it with her because I know I'll tell her if you like the song, Flashlight, it's kind of like her singing along with it, and she's singing along with everything. She loves them.
Yeah. Kim says, I think they are interested in having a channel.
Oh, I'm sure this one especially would love
Both
having
lights are on.
Yeah. She's like, yes, please. Yes.
So I have an interesting question I've been thinking about all night. You mentioned they each had their own flashlight and a cat ball in the middle. Do they ever set off the cat ball, or is it always the flashlights?
Oh no, they set off the cat ball. The other night when this makes me that much more of a crazy doll lady. I put them to bed. They have little beds that I bought them. They have pajamas. I put them in their pajamas. I put them to bed. In my mind, kids need to have a routine, right? Even if they're spirits, I think they still need a routine. That makes sense in my mind. Nobody else has to do it. It's okay. So I put them to bed, and then I went in the living room to have a private session with Miss Amelia. And I said in my opening little spiel that I give that little Miss and little Jack were not welcome. They needed to stay in bed because I know that they can get out and travel around the house and do their thing. Well, we get about 30, 40 minutes into it, and all of the stuff starts going off. And I'm like, and they're here. And it's just like the cat ball kept going off, and then they'd set off the K2, and then the flashlight would go off. And because I had Miss Amelia on one flashlight, and I had Mr. Morrison on the other flashlight, and they were not using the K2 and the cat ball at all until these two came in. So when I started asking questions, I said, okay, you're not in trouble. I just want to verify and make sure that it's y'all and that there's not somebody here that's not supposed to be here. They were having a field day with it. Just this one especially, Jack loves the cat ball. She likes to do it, but she has more fun with the flashlights. He loves the cat ball.
Right.
Very cool. So Linda says, good luck with everything. I'm sure there's a doll seamstress online. Try the website, thedollseamstress.com.
Oh, wow.
I'm just really scared to take them to somebody that I don't know. For one, I don't want them to get freaked out if they find out they're vessel dolls, and I don't want to keep that information from somebody in case something were to happen at their house or something. He's like, yes, please don't do that. But something I have learned that I had no idea that you could do, and y'all probably did know this. Did you know that there are people that they think it is their job to pass people along, like to send them on their way?
Yes.
I mean, but they take it upon themselves, not like the doll saying, hey, can you help me get to the other side? They just say, hey, you look like you need to go to the other side. Okay, here's how we do this. And they send them along the way.
That's not right.
If somebody did that with my dolls, I would just, I'd be heartbroken.
Yeah.
I mean, if they wanted to go on their own terms and their own time, and for whatever is keeping them here now, something is keeping them here now. But I have told them since day one, I don't want to hold you back from whatever, God or whoever is calling you on. But I don't want just some Joe Blow on the street to take it upon himself to go move my babies along. That's not your business, Joe. Keep it moving.
Right.
So,
And Linda's correcting her statement of saying she's suggesting to chat with them to get ideas about what's possible to do
okay.
for repair.
Okay, yes, I can do that. That's a good idea. Thank you. My mind immediately goes to the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
That's
And
all those years.
I will admit something right now that I rarely admit is I have the gift of helping spirit to go to the other side, and I used to do that a lot. But I would always ask the spirit and the I'm trying to think of the essence of the owner, what they want, and if they want them to cross, because I felt like you're saying, it's really weird to walk up to someone and go, "You have a spirit with you. Would you like me to cross them?" Because they
Mm-hmm.
want to cross, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of weird sounding. So I don't talk about that very much. That I used to do that here and there.
Well, what comes to my mind is that, for whatever reason, God or the spirits, whatever. I'm a Christian. I believe God had a hand in it. That's just my personal belief. But I think that there's a reason that we found each other. I don't know what it is yet. I know that they have helped me with my mom's passing. What I did not realize, though, when I was hugging them as much as I was and talking to them, and I would even just come here and close the door and cry with them, um, they're getting all of that energy. So
Right.
I was making them much stronger, but not in a good way, not in a positive way. So I had to redirect that energy. So again, I am not a seamstress, but I took a bunch of my mom's old clothes and I kind of dissected them and I started making pillows with them to give to my family. We had a little birthday party for her back in February, and that was my goal, was to get a lot of the pillows made to take to the birthday party. So I made it a very deliberate effort. I would bring them in with me. I would turn on gospel music or whatever, and I would sew, and we would talk, and I would share stories with them, but I wouldn't just dwell on the sadness, you know, because I didn't want it to be detrimental to them. And I know it wasn't good for me either. I mean, everybody needs to grieve, but it wasn't helping me. So I needed to channel that to something that was more positive. Um, they both got to know her. And with her Alzheimer's, in a way, it was kind of a gift that she had that suspended reality. She never questioned whether they were real or not. I told her, Mom, they can talk to me by using the flashlight. Well, that's cool, you know? And she would sit with them and talk to them and sing to them. And I've got so many videos of her with these dolls. And so I know they were grieving too. And, it's just one of those things. And I told myself I'm not going to cry. We had to find that happy balance, you know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
if somebody, I understand that people need help moving along sometimes, but if somebody just took it upon themselves just to say, oh, you shouldn't have those spirits need to move on to the next level. They don't know what those spirits are dealing with.
Right.
What I'm dealing with, that I need them and they need me at the moment. So that would break my heart if somebody just moved them along without my
Right.
knowing, you know.
Yeah.
And I deal with that a lot because I'm like, because I know I can. When I come up with to a spirit and I'm like, I can feel like they're like not sure what's going on and everything, I'll talk with them and I'll explain, what's going on and go, here are your options. And, I honestly give them all the options, but if they're like even hesitating for a second to answer, I'm like, you're not ready for
Yeah,
this. And I'll be like, you just keep doing what you're doing and just, be mindful that people are here and they may not understand what you're doing. So don't take it personal or get upset. And, I try and help them to cohabitate in this space instead of
Yeah.
Thinking, oh my God, these people are screaming and yelling at me, and I don't like it, and start lashing out. I'm like, no, they just don't understand your
Yeah.
communication.
That's a good word for it, cohabitate. You have to learn how to cohabitate. Um, absolutely. I think that's a smart approach to it. I can see, something I have learned from all of this. They don't like clutter. Clutter creates chaos. And our house, we're in the middle of remodeling it right now, so there's a lot of clutter and stuff. So we talk about, okay, you're going to hear these noises. This is going to be going on for a couple of hours. But sometimes I will bring them in and I'll let them watch what's going on. And sometimes I'll just leave them in and I'll just come in and check on them every once in a while. And then I'll bring them back out and show them, okay, now see all that noise. This is what we did. We put up this wallpaper. We did this. And I might be doing a little overkill on it, but I think it's better to over communicate to them than not let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, Kim. And that's the fun of being a podcast host is you get to share.
Well, y'all were some of the first people that got to meet them, and I loved your reactions weren't like, and I know it was a paranormal weekend, but most people are like, okay, crazy lady, keep them over there, I mean, even my daughter Lindsay, I was sending her pictures, and she's heard this enough now. She understands. They're good now. They're friends now. But Lindsay's first comment to me was, "Keep that Annabelle wannabe away from me." So it's like, no,
Yeah.
Lindsay, she's very sweet, and so that I would go over to her house and house and dog sit for her. And she didn't want me to bring the babies. I'm like, well, I'm not coming if I can't bring the babies. Okay, well, don't bring them in the bedroom. Kim, or Lindsay, they can go wherever they want to go, right? So you can tell them to stay in the living room, but if they want to go in the bedroom, they're going to go in the bedroom. So finally, he's cool with them now. They're all good now. But at first, she was a little creeped out. I'm not going to lie, but they are good now. They're friends.
And I'll totally be honest. I was telling Carla, I'm like, dolls creep me out, but
they're not creepy, right?
Through this entire episode, I've been this is chill. I'm okay with this. This is totally not what I was expecting.
They are so sweet. They're not scary at all. I mean, I used to have, when I was a little girl, I would put my dolls in the closet at night. Somebody had the genius idea that it was a good idea for me to watch this movie by myself about these dolls that would come to life at night and kill people. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking. I'm sure nobody gave me permission. I just watched it, but I scared myself to the point where I would play with my dolls during the day and then throw them in the closet at night. Way down the road, I was still scared of dolls, but these dolls don't scare me. There's just a sweet disposition that comes with them, that they are calming. They're I don't know. I cannot even explain it. Kevin, for the longest time, they were kind of scared of Kevin. He's not a big old dude or anything, but he's a former Marine, 21-year Marine Corps. He comes across sometimes kind of gruff and just his voice and his mannerisms. And they were a little scared of him at first. But then they started where they would actually do the spirit, the flashlight sessions with him there. And I would say, can you turn that on and show Daddy this? And, they would turn it off and on. And they were doing something on the K2 the other night, and he came in and I said, can you make that go yellow to tell him good night? And they're right there with him doing all the things. So I wanted him to see it and know it firsthand, and not just because at first he was like, I see what they're doing for you. I see how they're helping you. Well, that's all great, but they're really real. You know that, right? Sure. Yeah, but I see how they're helping you, so I'm okay with it. So at first I think he was like, well, yeah, they're helping you. Hey, Vicky. But he thinks they were helping me, but that you just believe what you want to believe. As long as it's helping you, it's fine. You're not hurting anybody. But then he started seeing the things that I was seeing and hearing the questions I was asking and watching them as they were responding. They joke with him. They will, can you turn this on when Daddy gets around the corner and make it light up? And, it's funny to watch them interact because he absolutely 100% knows that they're real now. So I don't know how else to explain it, but he went into it just humoring me, and now he's a believer.
So Vicky says, "Thank you, Tammy, Carla, and Michael. Very interesting. Tammy would love to go on a ghost tour, investigation, or cemetery walk with you sometime. Good night, all."
Oh, let's do it, Vicky. I'll get
Thank
with
you,
you. We'll
Vicky.
do it. We'll make it happen, right, Carla?
Yeah.
Michael? All right.
Yeah, we can make that
We can
happen.
make it happen.
You're talking to two people right there. They got the hookup. They can hook you up.
Well, to some places, not to a lot of places.
I have faith in you.
But Kat was wanting to know, was the movie The Puppet Master, or is it the movie Dolls?
I honestly don't remember. It traumatized me to the point where I honestly don't know. Somebody kept saying, I know it was black and white, so it was definitely an older movie, and I couldn't have been more than 9 or 10, well, probably 10 or 11 years old. I probably thought I was grown. I'm sure I thought I was grown, but something we didn't even talk about. That's around the age, after I moved away, when we moved from that one house where I was having all those recurring dreams. When I lived at that house that I lived at till I got married, that's when I would have all those classes. It was a dead end street that had a hill that went down to the railroad track. And I would just set up camp out there and teach class after class and sing and dance and put on shows. And, sometimes my friends were with me and sometimes it was just me. But I taught a lot of kids how to read and write and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. So
somewhere down the road, I earned a teaching degree on that block.
Yeah. So we're getting close to wrap up time, but Linda has a question that maybe we can answer real quick. Is, do you use a ghost box to talk to your babies?
I do have one. I am not the best person at interpreting it because my daughter has told me for years that I've got ADD, and I was like, no, I don't. Squirrel, but but I'm slowly coming around to, yes, I think I probably do. Am I going to go to a doctor? No, I probably won't. Not yet. But so all of the noises and I need to get one of those, the app that will tune out the white noise and just do their voices, because it really messes with my senses with all the different things going on. I'm fine with all of the K2 and the noise from the
REM pod type stuff.
Yeah, thank you. All when we do the REM pod, all those kind of things, I'm good with all those noises. But you get that spirit box going in the middle of it, and it just tips me over the edge.
Yeah.
Right.
Sensory overload.
So Kat says, yes, this was a great episode, you guys. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, Kat. I appreciate all your information about Madame LaLaurie.
She says, nice to virtually meet you, Tammy, and can't wait for June.
Oh, I know. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be fun.
And they're coming, right, Carla? They're coming?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
She says, we met at HHL, but didn't really get to talk much, and at Buc-ee's.
I do know who Kat is now. She's got the long brown hair and the glasses.
Yep.
Right? Okay, I do know Kat. Hi. Because I was thinking, okay, I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names.
And so Linda has a question that I can save time and answer for you. She says, sorry, keep wanting to say them, but came late to the show. What are their names? So the names were Little Jack and Little Miss.
Yes. Now, Little Miss, just last night, finally, we got her name as Millicent. But when I asked her specifically, do you want me to start calling you Millicent? She didn't answer. So no response to me is a no. But when I went back and said, so you want me to keep calling you Little Miss? Yes. She likes Little Miss. That got shortened from Little Miss Raggedy Ann. That just sounded really formal for such a little doll. And Jack comes from, he plays the song Fairshaka with the music box that's on his back. I don't know if you can see it. I don't want to expose him. He's right here. So when we found that, and we decided to call him Little Jack. So
It works.
it works. It's very, very slow. He's about 75. The doll's about 75 years old.
Yeah. Well, let's not expose anymore because, we like to keep our clean
It is a
status.
family friendly
Yeah.
show.
We're PG. Well, PG-13. I feel like we said a couple of words tonight.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We're at an hour 30 minutes, so
Oh my
I
gosh,
want to
that
thank.
flew by.
It did. And so I want to thank everybody in the chat room for your questions and comments. We appreciate when you guys chime in. And
thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
We
we're
had a lot of
glad.
fun.
Come on.
You could come back and tell us how the kiddos did at Old Park.
I will. I can tell you about it.
That'll be a fun episode.
They did great. When I took them back in January, I think it was.
It was in January.
No, June. It was June. When was it? When did we go? Because you were there. When did we go, Michael?
You went in January.
It was the first weekend of January.
Okay, so I did say the right month when we went in January.
Right.
But yeah, they went. They were there. They did good. They, I learned a blessing to say over them before going in to kind of put a blanket of protection around them because I didn't want any spirit to mess with them.
Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Corey says, can't wait to meet the kids.
I'll make that happen, Corey.
And Kim Smith says, enjoyed.
Me too.
And so we're going to wrap up the show now.
Okay, thank you again, y'all.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
Yes, thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing Little Jack and Little Miss with us.
Can you tell them bye?
Bye.
Bye.
Now they're going to be shy. They're not
Have
going
a
to
good
turn the lights on.
night. Thank you again.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Ooh, let's switch out of this mode. There we go.
Yay.
All right. So that was a fun episode.
That was a fun episode.
And next week we have the
Justin.
other half of Lone Star Paranormal Research, Justin Sutter, coming on.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Get to see how the other half lives.
And I will say I'm excited for this one because of some of what he does for the paranormal investigation wise. And so just a little teaser to kind of pull you guys in to tune in next week so you can see what we're talking about. But I think it'll be a fun and interesting episode for y'all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you send us out.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody that tuned in and listened to us and commented and participated. It was a great show, and we love having you guys. And we will see you next week.
Yes, we will.
Night.
Good night, everyone.